welcome to the Tolleson-Mack podcast. We are back in T-Town in the Buckle Bunny room. We'd like to give a little recap on the trip to Oklahoma. I had a great time. I'd never been to the Lazy E. I thought, oh man, it's beautiful. The driveways are kind of winding and it's got all that white fence and shit. It was really cool. Cesar was telling us about how cool it was, and talking about it doesn't do justice.
No, that place is really cool.
And the setup we had over there was, there was not a better setup where we could have posted up. So big shout out to Billy Myers giving us a
Billy hooked us up.
Hell yeah, he did.
We were right there, right on top of the bar, we were right behind the heading box, basically.
Yeah.
Right?
And the AC.
Right there overlooking the arena. I got to see all the action, and then during the previews and stuff for all the futurity and everything, it was right there. So you didn't miss anything.
The auction was right below it. Got to talk to a lot of cool people. I just watched the Dakota one came out today. I just watched it. That was fun. That dude was pretty fun. His wife kept bringing him Coronas and shots of Fireball, and the podcast kept getting funner and funner.
He was getting a little nervous, so we got to get him a few beers. Got
to cut the edge off. But yeah, and I said it a bunch in those podcasts, but I really liked that whole vibe that was going on there. Everybody was cool. There wasn't some overstimulated security guard on a freaking GoPed.
Oh, we shut down the bar. We're the one that closed it up.
Yeah, we turned on the lights when we got there, and we shut them off when we left. So, yeah, everybody was super cool. The event itself was fun. It was fun for me because I got to watch some of those horses really work, and, it wasn't just a throwing contest. So I thought that was cool. What do you guys think about it?
I tell you what, the horses, man, I'm a lover of the animal for sure, and get to see some world-class horses there. Dakota, he was riding Caleb Drigger's stud over there. That was pretty neat. And, Miles and Trevor, they got all kinds of cool horses over there. The big brown horse. You really like that horse. Yeah, he's to see that kind of horses. And we've seen some stiff competition over there with all the world-class, show horse guys. So, man, I'm all about those shows. Being a rodeo guy for the longest time, and now going back into the show game a little bit, I get a kick out of going to those things.
Yeah, no, I had a great time. Cesar and you helped us out on the hillside, and we took all the ladies over there. I think 4-year-old. It was only never been hauled. So I'm not trying to make excuses, but we.
Yeah, but I don't think it's excuses. You got to get them some.
No, and it was experience now that we have, so we're ready to go to Fort Worth.
That's what Dakota was telling us. He's like, shit, I got 3 of them tied to the trailer.
Yeah,
we just bring them. Just bring them to get them the experience, and that's what Love the Ladies got. Yeah. I really like that yellow horse.
Yeah,
that you.
I want to thank Katie Jo Anthony for hooking it up and letting me ride that pretty stud. And she calls him War Pony, but
War Pony.
He's a really really unique, cool stud. There were several times there was mares walking all around there, and he really minded his manners really well and worked top notch.
Really did his job well.
But the manners more than anything else.
He didn't lift his lip.
No, he didn't talk to anything. He kept all about the business over there. And so to get a stud like that, and I think that horse is 10, 11 years old. Yeah. It takes a really good hand. And thank you very much, Katie Jo Anthony, for let me help on.
We had her on the podcast, man. 1,500 people in her, and she wins.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I've watched every episode now. I got hooked on it, man. She had to deal with some people. I don't know if you guys seen her episode. There was some characters on there.
Cowboys, alpha males over there. You know what I mean?
There were some guys. I was like, whoa.
The thing about that though, she's as cowgirl as they get.
You could tell.
She does it every day, and she's out there cowboying and doing some cowgirl stuff out there. So I shout out to her. She's awesome.
Yeah, no, she was definitely my favorite on there. Not just because we did an interview with her. You guys go and watch it yourself, and you'll know who's who.
I got to interview. Well, we got to interview Bobby Moat. I was pretty stoked about that.
Absolutely.
You watch that kid growing up, and it's like, man, if I'm gonna get in a bar fight or go to a bareback riding, I want this guy in my corner, and then to get to sit there and talk to him, that was pretty fun. I probably don't say this enough, but I want to thank these guys for letting me sit here and do this job, man. I'm getting to meet some super freaking cool people and
that's awesome,
get to travel around with you guys and have a lot of fun. Bobby Moat was cool. Ben Clements.
Yeah, he was real cool.
Yeah.
We were just having fun in that one. That was when you get somebody that's really used to talking on a microphone on the podcast, it's easy because you just get to bullshit with them. And And that's what makes it fun. Everybody always says, "Oh, them podcasts are like just a tailgate bullshit session." Yes and no.
Yeah.
Right? You know, because sometimes our best, all of us, even when a guest comes on, our best conversations are before and after.
Yeah.
Because sometimes when Craig drops the hammer over there and it's time to go, like the guest will lock up, like, you know?
Yeah.
So some of those are really fun. So, anyways, had a good time in Oklahoma.
Yep.
We're back. We're back in T-Town. We're watching Pendleton, watching the boys from Arizona get it done, huh?
Heck, yeah.
Man, what a cool place to rope over there. They stopped the whole town pretty much for about a week and a half, and it's just nothing but rodeo. And shout out to Derek and Coulter. They pulled it off this
Big
year.
time.
Big time.
It set them up for our gold buckle.
Mhm.
You know, they're right there in the mix right now, so I'm looking forward. You know, Caleb Driggers and June Nogeta were my team, but I'm gonna have to, you know, have two this year.
Yeah.
You know, I'm gonna have to, because I mean those are, I had more success with those two headers in my career, and so you got to be pulling for them a little bit at the end.
Yeah, I don't think anybody would
blame you.
would blame you for
No.
going with two your best
Yeah.
buddies.
And I, you know, every interview I've seen on the Cowboy Channel, that they both have given you a shout out numerous of times. So I think you should be proud of that. You know, they think very highly of you too.
I tell you what, like Coulter, you know, having him as a teenage, you know, got really hanging out with him as a teenager. To see he was real grown up when he was young. Like he had a little cow business going and had his own little money. And he was paying his own fees at the rope-ins and rodeos and kind of doing it that way as a young man. And, you know, I was kind of drawn to hanging out with him because Derek talks about it. Like, this Coulter's a really good guy, you know, all the time. You know, even when the doors, you know, I've seen stuff happen where, you know, you think you'd see him get a little frustrated or something. He just kind of thinks his way through. And, you know, you might get a little red-cheeked a little bit, but he just kind of eases through it and kind of works his way through it. And, you know, Derek, he's you know, I can't say enough good things about that guy, but you know, he gave me a couple chances for a world title, and I really do think that they're going to pull it off this year.
That's awesome.
I talk about God a lot, you know, help me out a lot. God loves both those guys a lot, and
they're on a roll right now.
Yeah.
They're roping good. They're having fun.
Yeah.
Like you see them in interviews, they're having fun. It's like when you win a roping with your buddy, you just it's cool you won, but you're just having fun.
That's what I'm rooting for.
They were
too.
jumping the fence. You see them jumping the fence.
There's a chemistry with the top guys more than ever. Like there's got to be some kind of connection there. It's almost like a brotherhood.
Mm-hmm.
You see it with Derek and Coulter, Caleb and Junior, and you know, Andrew Ward and Buddy Hawkins. They're really brother-in-laws.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're really a brotherhood out there. So like you know, Dustin Egaskiza, Levi Lord, these guys are real tight knit kind of group kind of guys, and so I feel like there's something to rodeo nowadays more than ever about being, you know, having your partner's back.
So this is to do with that, but kind of off topic a little bit. Like I've seen before, and I mean I'm sure you've seen it a lot more than me, but guys will go in and their partner won't make it, and they'll have to rope with somebody else. Dude, what does that do to like your mindset? You know what I mean?
Sometimes it works out pretty good, but like, you know, we're living with each other rodeoing. We're out there every day, kind of hanging out, so we know we get to deal with different personalities, and whoever makes the finals, we've been around them a lot. And man, I call it the nut cutting right now. We're fourth quarter. There's a few rodeos left, and like we're fixing to figure out who's in the top 15 real soon. And man, it's unbelievable race. It's going to be in the 90s. You got to have somewhere in the 90,000s to make the NFR this year. Really high 80s. And when last time I made the NFR, I was right there at 72,000. I think I'm winning, you know, 15th spot. 2014 was 72. So like that's 20,000 more than you guys are winning these days. And it's not, I feel like it's gotten a lot faster. But these guys are just really roping. It's fun to watch. I kind of got to be a fan last couple of years, and geez, you know, I've been out there for 20 plus years rodeoing. To see the evolution of it, just as you know, I've been out there, is amazing. But like you guys talked about, shout out to Coulter and Derek. Those been my two best headers that I've had more success with at the NFR. You know, Tom Richard, I had a lot of success with him too. But those guys were, I think they brought my best healing out. Both those guys, Coulter and Derek, just because I felt like they had my back. You know what I mean?
I kind of agree with that. Just from a fan watching it, I think they brought the best Cesar out.
Yeah.
Right.
I think you were so tight with those guys. I mean, Tom's a nice dude.
Yeah.
I'm sure you
Yeah.
love traveling with that guy, but you were so tight with those two dudes. It was just like, throw me the ball, I'm going to catch it. Like, I promise you I'm going to catch it.
Because you guys come from a long, when you guys were
Junior
young,
rodeo,
yeah.
right?
Yeah,
I
oh
mean,
yeah. And
that's
like
different.
Derek was a healer back in the day. Both those guys were healers, and like I said, Coulter, he wanted to be a world class healer. He when we were teenagers like that, he pushed me to get to the next level in my healing because I was always wanting to surround myself with the best. And in Arizona, he was one of the best. He's one of the most consistent healers. And then he was almost forced into heading because he had a really cool head horse, and he was around a bunch of healers, so he was forced into heading pretty much. And then when we made the NFR, it was fun, and he enjoyed it and stuff. But I'm looking forward to see his look on his face this year healing, because this is what he's worked so hard for. He's dreamed about doing this whole life, man. We broke it down for hours and hours. We're up in the goats, and we're at Cheyenne, we're at Reno, we're doing this, and man, he even back then he didn't miss.
Yeah.
So it's cool to see his dreams come true to get a shot at the NFR for a gold buckle.
It feels like to me, just way he dresses and knows how he goes. He's like it's like he's for the people. You know what I mean? He doesn't have all them sponsors.
He's like
all
the
that.
people's champ.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's like the real guys get behind him. Him and Derek.
Don't want to ruin his good cowboy shirt, dude.
Yeah.
He's only got a couple good cowboy shirts. I don't want to ruin it. Put a bunch of patches on it. Got to use it every day. You know what I mean?
That's true. He'll know.
Even on the ranch, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, both those guys are in full dress code pretty much all the time.
For sure.
It's, cowboys, they really live it. Derek's out there in the mountains catching cows and catching
on the birdie, catches them up the birdie.
Big old mean bulls too. Little Herefords, just little sharp points. You know what I mean? They'll get you for sure. And I think that's what's helped him out in his career and his roping, is he can get them from anywhere, man. It just doesn't. If the steer's out in the arena, he's gonna get them. So
did they rodeo last year together?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, and,
What they end up? Were they in like top 50? Weren't they?
Coulter, he just missed it, and
they were way up there.
They were way up there.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
I'm not saying way up there. Coulter just missed. I'm gonna say like in the top 30 or so.
Oh, yeah.
But he just
So
missed.
does that mean they, like you guys had explained before, then he gets to go to Houston?
Well, he just missed it. He just was one of the guys that just missed Houston.
And that's saying something.
Yeah.
Then, I mean, he
So,
wasn't allowed to go to
He
those.
didn't go to any of the winter rodeos.
See.
Derek got to get into a few of the winter rodeos, but he didn't have as much success. And like I said, once them guys got together, they get to traveling together. The entering and all that stuff. There's something kind of connection. And I feel like I've had a good connection with all my partners. I've tried to rope with, guys that I felt fit my style really well. But man, there's something about them two guys. And even Tom, they knew how to, whenever I'd miss one and kind of, I was frustrated and kind of, getting a little, smoke's coming out my ears. And all three of them guys knew how to talk to me and just help me relax, to help me get back to catching again. It's kind of an emotional roller coaster out there roading, like a highs and lows out there, man. I would ride it, man. I was in that roller coaster. I was riding the highs and the lows. So, but that is a beautiful thing. As a quarterback, they set the whole run up, and they were able to control the receiver and make sure, hey, dude, look, I'm gonna set it up for you. I'm gonna throw you the ball right here. You just catch it, and we'll go back to winning again.
It's kind of like real NFL football. The quarterback has to, because wide receivers most of the time.
You see the relationship.
You know what I mean?
Antonio Brown.
Yeah, kind of. Cesar's taking his shirt off. And I'm out of here.
But the game, Coulter just riding out there, sneaking out there. Same thing. And like I'm all emotion on one side, and then then both them guys, you can't get any emotion out of their faces.
Yeah, I wonder how the rides with those guys are down the road.
Are they quiet? I think they talk.
I love both those guys. Like Coulter, he's pretty quiet, and we'll talk a little bit. Like he likes listen to some gospel music, stuff like that, some stuff like that. And then Derek, some of my favorite rides is he'd play some of the powwow music, stuff like that. Some of the like that. Those are some of the funner rides, but they're mostly pretty quiet, and they want to talk a little bit about stuff, especially the late night drives. If you can kind of help them out, maybe talk to them a little bit, get their mind rolling.
Do they break it down and stuff like that big time?
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Both those guys, they talk about being home a lot. They talk about the ranch. There's always something to be done, so you can always talk to them about that. What's going on at the ranch, and water lines breaking, cows are doing this and that. So you always get something to talk about.
Man, it'd be so cool. They want to go buckle and just, they could drop the mic at that point. I mean, they have nothing to prove, neither one of them, you know what I mean? Nothing to prove now, but it's just, I'm rooting for him big time. Arizona connection and Cesar's connection.
I just kind of had a feeling, man, when I seen Coulter, you know, because we're down there at Wilcox. So when I seen Coulter start roping again, I was like, man, I don't know. I just had a weird feeling, and then I heard he's roping with Derek, and I'm like, they're gonna put it on him, dude.
Yeah.
Like these dudes can just flat rope.
He never quit roping. He
Yeah.
roped every single day.
And they
when
keep
he-
saying
yeah.
they kept saying, oh, he's just gonna rope a few. He's just gonna rope at a few. Bullshit.
Well, he was over there
He's
picking
good.
up. He's
Right.
picking up the rodeos with Cody Reeser, you know, and
Man,
he
shout
just-
out to Cody Reeser. I've seen a lot of pickup men in my day. Watched a lot, you know, putting on bull ridings and shit. And I think he has to be one of the best pickup men. And he's one of the guys that can come from the hip with a rope and rope a horse and stop a wreck before the wreck happens. Like, it takes a lot. Roping a bull, roping a cow is one thing, but when they come from the hip, them pickup men, and they can just flip it out there and rope a horse.
very strong. Like
Yeah.
he's got some
That dude's a
superhuman
ham.
strength. You
That
know, when
dude's a
I've
ham.
seen a guy get hung up and he lifted him with one arm and threw him back over on the other side. You know, bareback riders ain't very big, but in the heat of the moment, he had that adrenaline going and
That's
and
bad.
got his buddy out of a wreck right there, but just picked him up with one hand and threw him over by the belt loop and threw him back over on
And
the other
does
side.
it with a tie on.
Yeah, no, like
Yeah.
he's it's pretty cool. Like we all grew up out there in Wilcox, and I grew up in Tucson and kind of the hood a little bit is what I consider it. You know, I grew up right next to the bar and apartments and trailer parks and all that stuff. But I would try to go to Coulter's all the time because it was a wide open spaces. Like there was more cows than people, more horses than people where you're at over there. Like it was unique. When I'm at my house, I seen people all over the place. So like going over there to Coulter's, I wanted to go there as much as I could. I go the summer times, and you know the ranches, Cody's ranch and Coulter's ranch were huge ranches, but like they would border each other, so they would help each other out all the time. So I got to see Cody do some really cool things and rope some big bulls, and like man, as far as cowboying is concerned, I got to spend some time with those guys. I got to see them do some really amazing things outside.
And that's cool. You know, you coming from the inner city, going out there, and you made the finals. I mean, that's both of you. You know, you both sides of the spectrum at that point.
I was thinking about it, you know, a little here more lately than anything else, but I really think that Coulter he's one of those friends, you know what I mean? Sometimes a guy needs a good role model, and he was one of those friends that like kept the guy.
That's cool.
When all your other buddies are going to go party and all that stuff, Coulter's let's kind of do this and let's get a good night's rest, get up and get to work, little things like that. And
Yeah.
not hearing that from a 15-year-old, 16-year-old kid a lot of the times, you know what I mean? Let alone
Yeah.
18-year-old. Like when he's a year younger than me, but when he was 17 and I was graduating high school, he went to go work for Mel Potter and train
back
horses
east, right?
back east, Wisconsin, way up there. And so like that's where he started.
That's way east for us.
Yeah, that's where he got that buckskin horse and kind of started rolling around there. And that's what started his roping, his heading career. You know, he is. I talked to Chelsea Schaefer today, and we were kind of reminiscing a little bit. But he started his career in the 13. He won the 13 shootout in Oklahoma City, paid $50,000 back then. You know, and then the next year he comes back and he's heading on that horse, and then he's won $50,000 in the 15 shootout, and then the next year, the third year, 2006. That's when we made our first NFR, but we won the open shootout. So he 3 years
13,
in a row.
15
He went
open.
from healing,
That's
heading,
awesome.
like so Coulter, man, like I said, he's one of the both those guys, like I say, Derek and Cole, when something's outside and you need to get it caught, you want those guys because they will not miss.
They're ropers. They're not header. They're not healer. They're ropers.
They're not going to miss.
Yeah, that's
but
awesome.
like I said, having that guy as my mentor, kind of a little bit. I consider my mentor. I'm a year older than him, but like
That's a very good you know.
He's a guy that like he's such a good guy.
Yeah.
Man. Like he's always the right frame of mind. I'm kind of like a hothead sometimes. You know what I mean? He's like, hey, chill out, man. It'll be all right. Just relax. And,
Yeah.
You know, and we see them guys, like we see Reeser around or Coulter, you know, they're at Wilcox at the sale barn, you know, at the Wilcox Livestock Auction. And the other side of them guys, besides their roping skills and cowboy skills, is they bring them boys of theirs in there or their kids and they sit down and it's yes, sir, no, sir. And to anyone, like, I mean, you know, you're going through a door, boom, they'll hold the door open for you.
Yeah.
I've seen some of them boys at Coulter's help a lady out with a goat, you know, I mean, just whatever. So, I mean, it's that cowboy mentality. It's not only they're that handy with a rope, but they're that handy raising their kids.
That's awesome.
Absolutely.
You know what
Absolutely.
I mean? And that's a big shout out to them guys because, man, in this day and age, I mean, we all know, we all got kids. Same with you. I mean, your boys rope. I mean, it's the same. Like, that's a bigger, harder thing than anything.
Teaching them how to rope.
Well, yeah, you
Those
having a
instincts.
teenage friend, you know, like, and you, like I said, you have the school that I went to, all them guys were getting in trouble and stuff, and you got a real responsible friend, really cared about you. You know, honestly, like it's like, man, like this is what his goals were, and like, man, I want to achieve some of them goals too. It's like like I said, the family's done really good. Rooster did a great job Rooster and Lori did a great job raising Coulter and his family. It's like,
I roped with Rooster a couple weeks ago at
yeah,
Spofford.
it's a great guy. Like same thing. His you can go to either one of those guys and have a problem, and then genuinely, you know, want to talk to you about it and want to help you out with it. Especially if you really, Coulter's one of my favorites because I could kind of go to him and like, man, I'm having some problems. He really genuinely wants to help you out. So
That's awesome.
All right, well, we're gonna get a drink. Brandon's already got a Starbucks.
Shout out Starbucks.
Shout out
Pineapple.
Starbucks.
Future sponsor.
Future
Man, I hope so.
Well, I mean, as much as you spend at Starbucks, if they could just give us a percentage of that back.
I never went to Starbucks ever in my life till like maybe a month and a half ago, and I go probably 2-3 times a day now.
I'm a Dutch Bros guy.
Pineapple, passion fruit. That's the name
Shout
of
out to
it. Just
KB
water.
Cattle Company, Brandon Brown for sponsoring Starbucks.
Yeah.
All right, we'll be back.
Thank you.
Hey, welcome back to the Tolleson-Mack podcast. Guess who we got up here? Goo. What's
Who?
up, dude?
Goo?
Going good. I can't believe you guys actually got me up here.
No, we did. We
With a
did.
stool. We got her up here.
we tricked her, yeah. No, so Goo runs all of our social media. Her and Bailey own Swallow Fork Media,
Shout out Bailey.
right? Shout out to Bailey.
That's awesome.
We hired them pretty much when we started, right? Maybe a month after we started.
Pretty close.
Yeah, pretty much a
beginning.
month. But yeah, Goo pretty much handles all of the social media. She works pretty tightly with Craig. They do a lot of stuff together, right? So why don't you
Yep.
tell us kind of what you do? Not only for us, but I know you do it for cattlemen's processing.
Yeah. So that's basically how this all got started. We started with Wilcox Livestock Auction.
Which this podcast is brought to you by Wilcox Livestock Auction.
My dad needed desperate help on social media, so
Wow.
he
What a
really.
nice way to put that.
But that's how this all came about. My dad, we were like, Dad, look, you have got to keep up with the times. Like, you are not really in the new, And he fought it like hand over fist for a really long time, and then finally we were like, hey, look, this is the way it's all going, and now we can't get him off of Facebook.
So when you said we, was it like a joint effort, like you and your sisters and your mom like cornered him, or
Pretty much.
pretty
Yeah.
much cornered
Yeah,
him?
pretty much.
Okay.
And then this kind of, one of the many Brandons that I know recently in my life, Brandon Shelton came up to me and was like, hey, look, we were running our annual bull sale, and for that we actually put on like a vendor fair. Honestly, there's a lot of hype that goes around the bull sale because, my grandpa started it 46 years ago.
And
Wow.
let me butt in right here.
You're
And
fine.
if you've never been to the Wilcox Bull Sale, you should go
Oh.
because it's kind of like a mini little festival and like
Cowboy community
Yeah,
center.
it's cool.
Yeah.
Right? Like the girls have something to shop for. Like we can all sit around and bullshit with everybody. Coulter's there.
Yeah,
Rooster's
yeah,
there,
yeah.
like,
Wow.
Everybody's there.
But for 47 years, you said?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's
Like,
neat.
Yep.
Okay,
That's
go on.
amazing.
I just
So
wanted
the
to
reason my
interject
grandpa started the bull sale was because that many years ago we had a lot of really good genetics out there, but in our area there wasn't a whole lot, and so he found the need for adding the good genetics, and now we again there's a lot of bull sales that have been going on for 10 years, 15 years, whatever. But my grandpa started ours 47. I think this is our 47th year
That's amazing.
annual
That's awesome.
that we've kept, and the only year that we've not hosted is COVID.
I bought the Grand Champion the year after COVID when you guys came back,
Mhm.
and your mom asked me, "Oh, you really need a bull?" I was like, "No, I just want that clock." Because when you buy the Grand Champion, you get a clock and it says Grand.
He just wanted his
That's
picture
awesome.
taken.
Yeah, I just want my picture taken. But you get that clock and you get to put it in your office. But honestly, my bull is great. Like I love him.
Yes.
He throws beautiful calves, and
Yes.
they're exactly what are advertised, because it's not like some guy caught a bunch of bulls and that one looks good and that one looks good. No, these dudes are legit bull breeders, and
Yes.
they bring them there and they talk to you, and we knew which one we were gonna buy before we even knew it was Grand Champion. So
Yeah.
Well, and the
I
coolest
really
thing
enjoyed it.
for me, obviously, I'm biased and it's been my whole life. I grew up around the stockyards, but the coolest thing for me is, I mean, 47 years, you're going to see a real generational turnaround from what the genetics have done for, our area. Like, it's not like we started a year ago, 2 years ago,
Right.
even 10 years ago. I mean, we've seen the cattle improve tremendously in our area, and we have a lot of ranchers that have taken advantage of that. So that's super cool.
To add to what that, desert cattle, they got to travel just a little bit more. They got to be able to kind of be tougher about eating different things.
Yep.
So that's what you're talking about, the good genetics and stuff. You just can't bring a bull from Kentucky or something like that and bring it over here. They're
Absolutely.
not going to do just really good. And that's kind of to add on to that just a little bit is the good genetics. I got to see it. I got to see people bring in bulls and they just don't do so good up there. And,
Absolutely.
the limousines and the Angus, they kind of started getting to get more and more out there and get that good genetics where they can travel and keep the weight on and stuff like that.
It was really important to us, like I said, to talk to the guy because I gotta ask him. I need a bull that can travel. He needs to be rock footed. He needs, I don't want a huge birth weight, and I want all these things in a bull. And it was like the guy's like, okay, I got one that's gonna fit you. And he showed me all this. I mean, just data. It's like when you talk about buying one of these horses. I mean, these guys are like that about these
Wow.
bulls, and I was super happy with them.
Well, and one thing at the livestock auction, I think just because we've been so family oriented growing up around there, and my dad, if anybody knows my dad, I mean, he's 100% fully invested in what he does there at the livestock auction. And
That's an understatement.
he's,
Like the word.
yes, he's, the true
Yeah.
definition of, generational in the auction barn business. And so he knows all the ins and outs. But, we try to really gear everything around education as much as we can. We have young field trips that we host. We
You
try
guys had
to
an
teach.
auction one day when I was there. All the little
Yeah.
kids were bidding.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. We try to teach them, live action. My grandpa that was there before my dad was his slogan was auction is action. And but we're like, seriously, we try to teach our kids all of the ins and outs personally, for the family business. But my parents have partners, and but we've been there, day in and day out with my parents as kids, and so it's really cool. It's been our whole
Yeah.
life.
And I've told your dad this, and I hope he wrote it down because I told him to write it down, and I want to be right. I like to be right. I told him, I said, Timber's gonna run the outside, and Maverick's gonna run the inside. So Maverick's your boy, and Timber's
Yep.
your nephew, right?
Yeah.
But if you watch them boys run around there, I mean, they run around like they're little dudes. How old's Timber?
Timber, I think he's
Eight,
what,
maybe?
8, 9 now, I guess.
Yeah, 8, 9. How's Maverick?
Maverick just turned 5.
Yeah, so 5
So-
and 9, and these little boys run around with the flag, but they're not running around with the flag whipping their friends. They're running around with the flag with a purpose. I mean,
Yes.
they're moving cattle through the ring, and I mean
That's
and
cool.
they're not moving the cattle when they shouldn't be moved because somebody's whipped them with a flag at one time.
Yes.
You know what I mean? But
There's been a
it's-
few times where I'm like, hey, just don't poke someone's eyes out in the audience, please.
It's fun. It's fun to watch, and obviously all of the grandkids go there. But if I had to make the bet,
Yeah.
like those would be the two that love it the most.
That place is like you can learn how to work over there.
Oh,
For sure.
yeah.
Like that was the first time I got a check for working 24 hours. $75 back in the Colton days.
Hey,
And
my
I learned a
dad-
lot. That place right there is.
That's where you learn to
hard
work.
workers surrounding that place.
I told my dad what you said, and he said, is he looking for a job?
Hey, speaking of that, you guys aren't you looking for somebody?
Yeah, so I think we might possibly have it handled, but yeah, we were looking for, my dad's kind of looking to step back a little bit now, and
Good.
yeah,
Good. That's good.
he's
Enjoy the
wanting someone.
grandkids.
Yeah, all the grandkids. That's right.
There's no better place to grow up as a kid, I would imagine, than Sale Barn.
I don't.
And I hear you have really good hamburgers.
We do.
Yeah.
Hamburgers are
Brought to you
amazing.
by Cattleman's
Brought to you by
Processing.
Kettleman's Processing.
I've never been there. Never. I've never been down there.
To
My
Wilcox?
whole
You'll
life.
have to come.
Never been to the auction
Let's
down
go.
there.
We can go on Thursday.
I've been to Marana, Prescott, but never been down there. It's on my bucket list.
Like I said, I think I'm definitely biased, but one thing that for sure sets us apart is, like I said, my dad is 100% fully invested his whole life into that place. And, he's always made sure that we know the ins and the outs and the generational part of everything, making sure that we know, what would you say, like we know the backstory to everything, and that's really important to him. Like he wanted to build it up and make it something more than what it was.
I
So
say this a lot when somebody will ask me about Will Clocks. He treated me the same when I took one steer there as when I took 10 truckloads. And it
absolutely.
doesn't matter to him. Like you're a customer and he takes care of you, and what he's really good at is giving you not so good news sometimes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's
'Cause
very
not-
Can't wait
straightforward.
to meet him.
like he just he'll sit there and bullshit you for 45 minutes, but not bullshit you, right?
Mhm.
Like he'll
Yeah.
give you shoot you the straight dope.
Kind of like my flatbed
Oh yeah.
on the way up here.
Yeah, I mean he'll shoot you the straight dope, like, and yeah, always wheeling. I mean you can just call him and you can just talk to him. You know, hey, how's the market? What do you think? And he'll. I mean, he makes money off selling your cattle, but he'll tell you, man, hold off a month, or bring them in
Absolutely.
now, or we're gonna get the best price if you wait 2 weeks. I gotta make a couple calls and I'll get the right guys here to buy that set.
Absolutely.
I mean, he's always there to work for you, and let's not just give it all to Sonny, Barbara, and them girls in the office. I mean, she's got a heck of a set of girls in that office. Adrian, everybody in there. I mean, they work great.
They do.
So,
They really
they
do.
And your sister,
they
your
put up
sister's
with our
running the
kids.
restaurant, right?
Yeah, my sister is now kind of helping out with the restaurant. So I don't know. You know what? That place is special to all of us. So
Yeah, it's cool. It's really fun.
we
So,
try to keep that for sure.
okay, so you do. Let's see. Your Swallow Fork Media does social media for us, Tolleson-Mack Podcast. Does it for Cattleman's Processing, KB Cattle,
Stronghold.
Stronghold Feeds, which is a great place. Go see Steve.
Absolutely.
Like they absolutely have no sponsorship dollars in this podcast, but he is a great dude. He's another guy you can call and
Yes.
ask him a question, and he'll just take an hour out of his day to tell you and get you going in the right direction.
He might tease you first.
Oh,
but
he's gonna talk. Well, yeah. I mean, the answer is only gonna take 5 minutes, but he's talking shit for the first 55.
yes.
But yeah, no, he's a great guy. Let's see, Brandon Brooks, right?
Mhm.
We think
Well,
we
we're
kinda hooked
meeting
up
with him tomorrow. So
Well, he's a great guy.
yeah.
Yeah,
Coming
no, he's
from-
a great guy.
You got another Brandon to deal with
Yeah.
now.
Brandon Brooks.
So you got Brandon, Brando, and Brooksy.
But I
Yes.
call him Brooklyn.
He calls him Brooklyn. I call him
Brooklyn.
Brooksy.
Yeah, he likes me calling Brooklyn.
Well, hopefully he's
Because
our
everybody
next
else calls
client.
him Brooksy.
So one thing we were talking about, the thing that sets Swallow Fork Media, which is us, apart, and I'm sure there's other, media companies like us, but you can have someone run your social media, but a lot of these things nowadays, they're, AI generated, they're automatic, they're very generic. The difference in us is, we will actually come to your business. We're real people to talk to on the
You don't
phone.
live in some like Cayman Islands.
Absolutely. We really want to sit down and learn about your business, and and sometimes that is hard because it can be overwhelming. You're learning and trying to deal with a lot of clients, but we try to do our best, and we're actually just hiring our first full-time social media helper. So that's super exciting for Bailey and I. Like it kind of blew up faster than we thought, and that, is super cool. And one thing for me that I think that's been really neat, that's been eye-opening also, is I didn't realize the need until we put it out there for jobs created for moms like us. I used to own a dance studio, and it was my absolute dream to grow up and own a dance studio, but then I realized real quickly with 3 boys and evening sports and rodeos on the weekends that just wasn't going the way that it was supposed to. I knew that God wanted to take me in a different direction, and I fought it for a little while, if I'm being honest. But as soon as we started this, it was like, it wasn't hard for it to flow. So
Yeah, and I know that. So I mean, Sarah. She runs.
Yep.
Sarah's my wife. She runs everything over there basically at the plant, and I just get to take the credit. But she's very
Sarah's
comfortable.
awesome.
She's very comfortable with you running that social media for us because you're very classy about it. Very, you know what I mean. You guys do a great job. the boys are involved. They come in
Yeah.
and they talk about it, and we like that family
Absolutely.
atmosphere kind of thing. So we're really happy to have you. I know we're all happy to have you on Tolleson-Mack. I mean, Tolleson-Mack's a little, versus Cattlemen's and a USDA ran business. Tolleson-Mack's probably fun for you guys.
Well, yes, and that's what actually I was thinking about this earlier, and I'm like, in doing what we do, you're almost like switching hats it's like, okay, now I get to be the fun person because this is what this account wants, and then it's like now I get to be. It's kind of like similar to being a mom, I guess. You go to work and
That's
you have
probably
one
why
hat
you guys
and-
are so good at it, right?
Yeah.
You
We're
can
good at
switch hats
multitasking.
all day long.
That's
yeah.
so true,
And let's give a shout out to Carson.
yes,
Carson went to
Carson's
Oklahoma
awesome.
with us. He made a cool video with us when he was there with the minivan.
Yes,
That dude was a trooper.
he is the trooper.
Yeah, he was good. We had some.
And I have to say, he fully supports our Swallow Fork. We said that we were going to make his position the Swallow Fork Media Idea Manager because he's always giving us ideas
There you
on how to do more.
I like it.
Where do you get the name Swallow Fork?
So Swallow Fork is like a mark. You can put it in the ear of
Like an
your
earmark?
cattle, like
Oh.
an earmark.
See, learn
Yeah.
something new every day.
And so we really liked that because we felt like it was, we're your missing piece,
Oh, nice.
There you go.
Definitely Wilcox right
Yes,
Yeah,
for
that's
sure.
all Wilcox right there for sure.
But it's
What's
catchy,
on
right?
What's on the horizon for Swallow Fork Media and Tolleson-Mack podcast?
So we actually have a few events coming up that I was going to mention. October 7th through the 8th, we have the Rex Island Days Rodeo. We're going to be doing some live filming, introducing some people, hopefully doing some interviews, both young and old. We don't discriminate against the age of a cowboy or a cowgirl. And we do have the PRCA Extreme Bull event with Judd Mortensen. So that's October
gonna be a good
14th.
one.
Yeah.
That's super exciting. I know
Yeah.
that we've all been on the radar for that one.
I'm
and-
actually riding a bull that day.
Yeah.
Yeah, but look out. For that.
Be on the lookout for
They said I wouldn't do it.
Brandon Brown riding a bull.
I'm
that
gonna
day.
do it.
Yeah. So no,
that would actually be great. I hope you do.
I've been
okay.
training.
Well, good luck with Brooksy. Brooks is a good dude.
Thank you.
He's a good dude.
I
He's
don't-
a hard worker.
Yeah, I don't even know if he knows what he does for a living though. So every time I ask him, it's something different. So I don't know. He
But
makes-
whatever he does, he's
Oh,
gonna
it's-
make
it's
money
great.
doing it.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
it's
that's
great.
awesome.
It's
He's
great.
gonna make money doing it.
He
so.
just-
Well, so we also do have the GCPRA finals, and we're going to
Oh,
be
yeah.
hosting the Exceptional
The
Rodeo.
Exceptional Rodeo.
Yeah, so that's
Tell
gonna
us
be
about
exciting.
that.
Yeah, when is that again? I'm
So-
horrible at dates. You tell me all the time.
Brandon, you need
Hey,
to.
this is another thing. Wait,
You
hold
need to
This
get
is
on your
another thing
calendar.
that
I
Goo
know.
is great at. We can just text her and be like, "Hey, where do we need to be? What time do we need to be
Yeah.
there?" And she sends us like this thing. So, I mean, not everybody that uses Swallow Fork is gonna need that, but personally, we all love it.
I'm horrible at it. I know. It's hard for me to remember.
Yeah. Well, you're getting old.
Yeah, that's true. I'll be 37 in like a week.
Age-
Jesus.
Age creeps up on everybody. So yeah, tell us about the Exception Rodeo.
So the Exceptional Rodeo, Andy White, she has done it before at the circuit finals, and it's just the neatest thing. Honestly, I think it's humbling, and it's just the coolest thing to watch and see. Like, I think we get caught up in everyday life, and then you realize, like, dang, these guys,
Yeah.
they just think it's amazing to hold a rope,
Yeah.
and we're all out there thinking about our next performance or our next supplement or our next rodeo that we're going to go to or not go to, or how we're going to make it work financially, and they're just like, a cowboy hat, that's
Mhm.
so
cool.
cool,
I've
you
gotten
know.
up a couple of them exceptional rodeos out, and it's cool that when you put them on a horse or they get to touch the horse. And
Absolutely.
Stuff, like, it's a cool experience. That's
Yeah.
kind of warms my heart to see.
I'm
that.
pretty excited
Absolutely.
to be part of that.
That is cool.
And actually, Healing Saddles will be there also, and they're an equine therapy.
Cool.
So
And what's the date on that?
October 27th through the 29th. So we have a busy October, is what
Yeah.
we're saying.
Yeah, October.
So and you said at the same time there's the AJRA or something like that. What'd you say? Going on before that?
Oh, before that is the so we have Rex Island Days the first
Uh-huh.
weekend and that's in Wilcox, the Pro Rodeo,
Yeah.
and then the 14th
Judd's
is
deal.
the Judds, and then the 27th through the 29th is GCPRA. finals.
GCPRA. Okay, that's what I.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got you.
So the Grand Canyons.
There you go.
So I guess we we talked to Cody Hart the other day, Brandon and I and Cesar, and we're kind of talking with him, and you're going to talk with him and stuff. And I don't know if you've been watching his Beyond the Buckles podcast. Have you watched any
I
of
have
that?
not seen
We
that
love
one
it. Like
actually.
we watch.
Yeah,
Well,
it's-
we were watching everything until they had a little mix up over there. I'm sure Cody will explain it to you. But what other podcasts do you watch
That's actually a good question.
or
So
listen to? I guess you know.
for me, I think as a mom trying to better myself, it's always like I try to watch like something biblical or something that's gonna better me as a person and my position with my family and my kids. And so
Cody,
that's
you're
my
a pretty
number
good
one.
person. Just to let you know, like,
You're okay.
like we think you're pretty cool.
You're okay.
Well, thank you.
So I think the podcast. You're
Don't
listening
I,
to
if
are
you talk
pretty
to Carson,
effective.
it may be a little different,
No,
but
I don't think so. I don't think so.
and I'm always preaching to him, so I'm sorry for that. But
How about you, Brandon? What podcast do you listen to?
Man,
Though I like your favorite one.
I like Full Send.
Full Send.
Yeah. Strickland went on there and called them a bunch of pussies
Yeah.
and all this stuff. And I'm like, he goes, anybody that watches this thing's a bunch of pussies too. So I was like, ooh. I might have to take them off, but
How about you, 9 times?
I listen to Joe Rogan quite a bit. He's got a wide range of the Theo Vons and
Hulk Hogan.
Joey
Oh,
Diaz,
yeah,
the
that was a
Hulk
good one.
Hogans. And he'll have Elon Musk on there too. Like he's got a that's,
Scientist.
I like his range.
Yeah.
He's got, and like it's funny he can joke around and because he's a comedian,
Mhm.
but then like he's kind of smart.
Yeah.
You can kind of get into it a little bit with some of these guys that are big brains.
yeah, and a
So-
fight instead of a gun.
Yeah, and so yeah, he's
Wow.
pretty mean guy too. So like Joe Rogan's pretty neat to listen to. I listen to him daily, pretty much.
Rogan's pretty good.
Yeah.
I like Rogan, and I really liked Cody Hart's podcast before they
Oh,
took
yeah.
it off.
That was
But
awesome.
he has a new one coming up, and we'll kind of tie all into that and stuff. But he was pretty good, and the reason I liked his and the reason I like Joe Rogan's is maybe the same. Like the censorship doesn't have a home there.
It's like pickup or going in the bar, right?
Right,
You're just
yeah.
talking, and we're
You're just talking.
no microphones. We're just talking
Right.
normal here. Yeah.
Like this is like like when we do these little recaps, just the three of us, and now Goo, on here. Like these are my favorite ones
Mhm.
Yeah.
because we just get to talk. Like.
I mean, if you looked at us on our first one, sometimes I go back and I watch our very first one and stuff, and dude.
Well, I think-
You do get more comfortable,
Yeah.
just-
I do think that that's what sets Tolleson-Mack apart, though. I was thinking about this, and I think that the main thing that sets us apart / you guys is obviously the real talk, real men, real life. I mean, it's just like I think that there's something to be said about surrounding yourself. We always say iron sharpens iron, in our text messages and things like that as a team. And I think that is extremely important for viewers to know that, these are real people. We're real people. And the reason why you guys are where you are is because you have the interest in talking to other people that have been successful. And it's like, I want to know, like, if you're successful, why, like, how did you get here? And, we talked to Cesar about how, he got to be who he is. And then now, ropewithcaesar.com. And then, Brandon, it's, how did you get to have Levine Brothers and Cattlemen's and all these other
is good.
amazing things? And
God is
then,
good.
absolutely.
Yeah, no.
I
mean,
agree.
hey,
Yeah.
God takes
I
care
get.
of us.
And-
Brandon says it all the time.
Brandon with
God
KB
works
Farms.
in like mysterious ways,
Yeah.
right? Like it all goes around and it all comes back. And my favorite thing that I always say is He only gives you what you can handle.
Yeah, that's very true.
That's what I think. I mean,
I agree.
sometimes you're like feeling like, oh man, I'm getting this bad luck and this and that, and I'm feeling down. And like I told these guys when I was laying in the hospital that time, that's what I was thinking. Oh man, I'm feeling down. Get to read my Bible a little bit, and like that's what happens. He only gives you what you can handle, and that's why I'm
Brings
back
you
sitting
back.
here today. Yeah, I don't want to get too churchy on you guys, but I'm just saying. So
Yeah, he's had a big impact on my life for sure.
good.
Thank you, God and Jesus, for taking care of me.
For
I like
sure,
it.
man. This is probably bad to say, but man, I had to pray on the way home from Oklahoma on the flight. I was, please,
Man, let's talk about it. This guy
scary
is the-
shit.
I had to sit next to him on these flights, and I mean, like, there was a point where I was holding his hand.
This is crazy.
Like, he was
Hey.
so scared.
Like I would have just been like, dude, you'll be fine, and fell asleep.
No.
That's the kind of guy
No,
I am.
this
I've been
guy
on
was-
too many airplanes. I
Hey,
fell
but
asleep.
dude, when that guy took off from Oklahoma, and he like banged the hard right. Like I
Yeah.
don't know if the tire caught or something.
Yeah.
But it kind of threw the plane. Oh yeah. Brandon.
All I know is I fell asleep, me and the baby, and woke up to Carson and Brandon, and he was like,
Just
"Man, I'm gonna
checking
have
on
to,
him.
I'm gonna have to go to church on Sunday if
Oh,
we
man.
land because."
I've been around too much equipment in my life, and I don't care if it's brand new or not. It all breaks. I'm just gonna go for 4 hours without breaking. My tractor can't go 4 hours without breaking. But we made it. Live to see another day. Thank you,
All
Jesus.
right. Well, we're gonna let Goo get off here. I think we made her nervous enough, and me and the boys are gonna get a little sip of water. And
You
then we'll
guys
be
will
back.
start seeing Goo more of a sideline
Yeah.
reporter gig.
Little
I would
sideline,
say.
little sideline
So-
reporter. I'm practicing
See.
now. Going to Goo.
Aaron Andrews kind of style. You know Aaron Andrews?
Oh yeah, Aaron Andrews.
No, I
You know
don't.
Aaron Andrews?
I do not.
Ham Minnick from the '90s.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Pam
I'm kind of
Minnick.
more of an Amy Sue Wilson.
Yeah,
Follower.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. All right.
And you live down in Wilcox, and that's where the Coulter and everything. I mean, you're right in the middle of it.
Yeah.
There's gonna be a parade when they come home with the gold buckle. You're gonna have to
Oh,
Oh
organize
yeah,
that.
my
I
boys.
say that right now on the record. If they come home with the gold buckle, we're gonna Tolleson-Mack's gonna have them a
We're gonna have a
parade.
parade.
Yes, absolutely.
Sponsored by Cattleman's.
Well,
yeah,
and
awesome.
it's super cool because they're not only they're just such highlight like to other people. Anyways, I mean
Genuine
they're
dudes.
good role models and like all these kids. It could have nothing better could
Bunch of little
happen.
kids wearing all the same shirts and everything.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Oh man,
There's a
Steve
bunch
better
of-
stock up on Pearl
Pearl
Snaps.
Snaps.
Yeah.
Steve better stock up. So. All right. Well,
Cool.
we'll be back. Okay. Welcome back to the Tolleson-Mack podcast. As you can see, Goo's still with us, and this segment is brought to you by Southwest Farms.
Yes, sir.
They love to sell hay, and if you love to buy hay, go to WeSellHay.com.
Don't forget Hauser built retriever trucks fed up. How's it built?
Man, those are good beds.
Yes, sir.
Those are great beds.
Check them out. Hauserbuilt.com.
Yep,
Best
yep.
beds in town.
Best beds in the country.
Yeah,
I think.
California too.
Everywhere.
Everywhere.
Okay, I like it. All right, Goo. Your segment, buddy.
All right, so I want to know from you guys so that our viewers can kind of get to know all of us on the team.
Okay.
What would be the first question? And I'm going to have each of you guys kind of answer separately. We'll start with Brandon and come back to Brandon.
Start with Brandon, go to Brandon.
If you had one main goal that you would like to see unfold with the podcast, what would that be?
One main goal I would like to see unfold with the podcast. I would like for the average guy, like kind of team roper dude, roping in the 8s, the 9s, maybe trying to make it into the 10s, to get the confidence from the guys that we talk to, right? Because we're just kind of normal dudes. Like, I mean, this guy's 9 times in the NFR, but this most normal dude I know. You call him anytime and hey, man, like, I just keep roping this outside leg, and he'll say, okay, we'll just do this and this and this, and he'll help you around there. I would just like for somebody listening to be able to say, man, those guys ask the questions that I want to ask.
And I'll say that personally. I've been at a rope in Vegas and called him in between my runs, and more, not necessarily just to get just to have him to say just give me any advice, was just something like kind of give the edge off of it and
Pull your head out of your ass.
Yeah, and he has.
That's usually the best
Yeah,
advice.
and I appreciate that. So
Yeah.
Yep. Well, I really like this podcast a lot. I like to get it where I lived with some of these guys for 20 plus years, rodeoing with them, and some of the stories these cowboys have and ropers have are just awesome and great, and just the stories that the families and stuff that people need to know about. I think the Coulters and Derricks and Trevor Brazils and all these people we've got a chance to talk to highlight a little bit of their life, I think would be very, very important. That's what I like to see out of this podcast.
my turn, or you
Your
gonna
turn.
go? Man, I just this is just cool to me. I don't know. I don't. Expectations are already. We started this thing. We thought we were gonna do 2 podcasts a month. You know what I mean? And every 15 days we do a podcast. Well, that didn't happen. So
More like every 15 minutes.
I think I kind of got hooked on it a little bit. I have an addictive personality, you would say. So I love it. I don't know. I just have fun with it. So I don't have an expectation because sky's the limit, they say.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I like it.
Absolutely. Okay, so if someone hasn't listened to our podcast, what would you say to them so that that kind of gives them an overview of what we're about?
Man, I think that we're we're the whole spectrum, right? I mean, we talk to Major League Baseball players. We talk to King of the Cowboys. One of our hosts is 9 times in a row to the NFR. I mean, like we're all over the place, and we're still pretty family oriented. I mean, you know, Brandon runs a farm. Cesar trains horses. I have the processing plants and cattle. Like, I mean, we're as family country as you can get. Yeah, we get a little goofy, and you know, we like to have fun like everybody else does. But when it comes to work, you know, I mean, if you swung those cameras out and looked out the door, there's a bunch of white pickups out there, and you know, every one of them's dirty because we pull in here, and this is where we come in to have fun and talk to some of our heroes. I mean, I got to talk to Bobby Moat. I know I say that a lot, but you know, that guy was so cool to me when I was a little kid. Like that was Hulk Hogan and the Gladiators, like all wrapped into one, you know. And that guy, and he spurred bucking horses. So you know, that's kind of what I think. We're normal dudes.
Well, and what I remember from Bobby's interview is, or you know, being on the podcast, was him talking about being a certain height and having zits all over his face. And he said, well, he's kind of real, you know. He's like, nobody wants to hang out with someone that's losing. Like,
Yeah.
like he's
No,
like,
he's
who wants to be a loser? I mean, and I don't mean that, you know, in a bad way, because, you know, obviously that's not bashing anyone, but I think that everybody has something towards someone that has a little bit of try.
And you know what I noticed about doing all those podcasts in Oklahoma, and I mean we were doing them back to back to back, you know. So the guy we just interviewed, no way could have listened to the current guy we interviewed or 3 interviews ago or however you look at it, right? No way they could have looked at it or listened to it. Every one of them had the same thing to say if you broke it all down. They all said, surround yourself with similar-minded people.
Absolutely.
People that work hard, that have goals, and want to get shit done. And that's what, I mean, that's what this guy's done. He's put it together.
Absolutely.
I mean, everybody gives me and Cesar a bunch of credit just because we talk too much on here probably, but like this guy put it together, and that's what he did. You know, you kind of surround yourself. It's the same thing I do in business, no matter what I'm doing. Like I try to do that, you know. And every one of those guys, from Trevor to Bobby, Dakota, everybody that was on there, Ben Clements. I mean, the rodeo announcer will even tell you, you have to surround yourself with like-minded, hardworking people that want goals.
Well, and I definitely even feel like that for me with Swallow Fork, you know, just being around you guys. It's been like, okay, you go from this idea of like, wow, an extra $300 a month, that's great. Like, and then next thing you know, you just think bigger, and you think bigger for yourself and your family and everything. So pretty cool. All right.
What was the question again?
If there was one thing that you wanted our viewers to know about who we are and what we represent on the podcast, what would it be?
Just like Brandon Shelton said, we're just normal people, and I got to, like I talked about earlier, I got to spend a lot of time with some of these rodeo cowboys and cowgirls. You know, I got to, 20 plus years, especially in the summertime, you see them almost every day. But some of their stories are just so cool. And I'd like to get one of my a person I look up to is Amberly Snyder. You talked about her a little bit.
Absolutely.
I'd really like to get talk to her a little bit because she's had a really big struggle in her life, and they didn't let her slow her down. So in the future, I'd like to get somebody like that, and I've got a little bit of relationship with her. I've talked to her a little bit, especially after her accident. She talked about roping a little bit, and maybe trying to get together one of these times and do some roping with her. But stories like that, like people, like they're so inspiring. The Coulter Todds and Derek Begay's, the stories are so inspiring for me, especially Coulter. He made me a better person just because I was surrounding myself with a guy that wanted more out of life than just partying and acting up. He had a goal. So like I said, I'd like to I love telling the stories of rodeo normal people.
Yeah, and to me, I don't remember the question, but I'll just go back. Other than Cesar, Cesar, like you said, been with these guys for 20 years, he has a relationship like no other. Well, me and Brandon don't. So, like, this podcast to me, it was like, man, me and Cesar, good enough relationship, and I was like, man, it could be like a win-win for everybody, right? This is the only way that I know I would be able to even know or talk to ever some of these people. These are people I see on TV and stuff. I mean, like you said, you got Cody Hart, Cody O, Larry D. Guy. I mean, that.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking to
How
these
that
people
happened.
now.
You know what I mean?
You know,
Yeah.
and
That's relationship now. And even if I say, hey, remember me? You're on my podcast, and that's a dumbass,
Hey,
Still
like
remember
Bob
me?
Mode is the David Goggins of the rodeo game.
Yeah.
Like he talked about how he was, just a kid that wasn't very talented.
Yeah.
Just like he worked so hard, outworked. I'm telling you, outworked everybody.
oh yeah,
I kind of, got around the Wolf Pack. They called themselves back in the day.
Willie Lowe.
Will Lowe, Tom McFarland, and a couple of them other guys. But it was big time about. They would always talk about how Bob was just hard working, and he's not as talented as the rest of the guys, but he would outwork everybody. And so having them stories and telling stories about those are inspirational, really.
Yeah. I don't know. This is just fun to me. I don't know. I just like.
And I bring this up a lot, but Eric Rogers told us he drives a tow truck when he's not roping.
Yeah.
I mean,
We're normal people.
normal dude.
Well, my
I mean, the Dennis Gates stories. I mean, dude, that guy.
Like I said before, I didn't know who Dennis Gates was, and then all
Now
of a
he's a
sudden,
homie. I talk to him every week.
he's my buddy.
Yeah.
But like I want to tell people too, it's like we don't come from a long line of podcasting. Podcasters, like this is our first generation, right?
We're
here,
first generation podcasters.
Yeah. Give us a little slack.
first generation, first episode.
That's the other thing too that like I hear from people. They're like, man, you guys don't give a shit. Like you talk to people in the background and like Dakota's deal. Like his wife brought a beer and a shot up. Like, dude, we don't have to. Like we love these guys, right? We love our sponsors. We love everybody. But I think that the reason we have these sponsors that we do is they kind of like the way we do it too, right? Like everybody's cool.
Well, I wouldn't say. I mean, I've been around with some guys, but this and that, and I said, well, don't fucking watch.
Exactly. Simple as
Like
that.
Easy, we're not paying
Right?
our bills.
But then you go to I went to that roping in Safford, and I mean, I had a guy come up to me and go, "Hey, you're one of the Brandons from the podcast, right?" I go, "Yeah." He goes, "Man, I listen to that shit all day long when I'm shoeing horses."
And I don't care what anybody says on camera. You like to be a big fish in a small pond.
Everybody
You know
does.
what I mean?
Who doesn't? So I mean, it's fun, and literally, dude, everybody says the same thing when you ask. You guys are asking those dudes the questions we want to.
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
like, do you ride your horse outside? Or do you just take that roping horse to the roping arena?
And if they start talking shit, I'll say, well, let me watch your podcast, and then I'll figure out what you're doing.
Let us know how that's going.
If you're upset with some of the guests, let us know who you want on,
Yeah,
and we'll try
How
to
about
get
you
them.
line up those guests?
I mean, we'll figure it out. You want somebody on there? We'll try to get Miley Cyrus, or
Yeah,
some of them. We'll try our best to do what we can.
Yeah. Have Travis Kelsey bring whatever her name
Taylor
is.
Swift.
Yeah, Taylor Swift.
We
Swizzle.
and we are looking like. Well, I think these guys are gonna be surprised. I mean, we got some. We're shooting for the stars now. I mean, we've only been in this.
Yeah, we're filming commercials, man.
now. So.
And that's a big deal. You start filming commercials. Yeah.
Well, and I think that's something to be said for the 5 months that it's been going. Is it's like it kind of went from 0 to 60, and really just from what everybody's put into it this far, and because everybody on board really wants to see it succeed, and that's the biggest thing,
That's why I said we all get in 1 year, we know we put everything in it. Then we'll see after that year, we know what's going on. We're halfway point right now, so I mean, I think
Stay on the gas.
I mean, it's the only way I know how to go.
Let's roll. You got any more, Goo? Those are pretty good ones.
I think maybe the only other thing would be, what are our interests? Like, I mean, can we ask our viewers, like, what was your favorite episode?
Oh, yeah.
Let us know in the comments. Or also, like they said, if you have a recommendation for a guest, we'll do our best to try to reach out. If you know someone that would be really good and you want to pick their brain, I know that we do have some really cool ideas that we're really excited to talk about at our meeting today. Hopefully we can bring some additions to you guys that would be, a little more focused for the listeners. And so we're really excited about some things that we've got on the table. So
What are we at now, Craig? How many episodes have we recorded? Like 40? I think we have out like 30 something. 30-ish. And we've recorded like 40. Yeah. So I ask this all the time, but which one was your favorite? One.
Man.
And you can only pick one.
that's so hard.
Okay, wait, hold on. we'll take Shea Hillenbrand off the table because Shea Hillenbrand is all three of our favorite ones, right? We'll take him off
And
the
I
table.
got a couple, man. It's just hard to separate them.
All right, give us your top two.
Man, I did get along. Some of my favorites just because being around Bob and stuff, and his world class, bareback riding career, and then his transition to team roping, and me getting to rope with Bob. That was pretty cool. He's my hero, and then getting to heel form at some of the jackpots was pretty neat. And I've had quite the relationship with Dakota, traveling with him. Shoot, he spent nights at my house quite a bit, and then on the couch in the trailer. And I drove for him a lot, where he just sat on the passenger seat and slept the whole time, But yeah, those are pretty cool podcasts. You got to see how Dakota was how mellow and laid back is his
I
whole.
went and drank beer with him one night.
Yeah, that's kind of like he helped me out sometimes when a guy'd get frustrated and kind of like rodeo and it's not all perfect, but Dakota helped just lighten the mood a little bit for
So
me.
Bobby and Dakota.
Yeah, they've been my favorite so far.
Every time I see Dakota, he brings up that night and he goes, "Remember that big fish I ate?"
Maurice goes?
Yeah, the whole fish. He was like, every time I just saw him in
So
Oklahoma.
who's your two favorite?
Oh man, that's tough. Looking back, maybe not at the moment, but listen to Dennis Gates. I catch myself going, he's funnier and shit.
Oh, man.
I like that one, but Chelsea was cool because I got to ask her questions about podcasting because obviously she knows, and that was cool, like picking her brain. So that was a cool one too. But I really like Clayton Bigelow. I think I'd love to have him back on in Vegas, and he was real cool. And so was Isaac Diaz. He was kind of more serious, but like I said, now that I've had those guys on, I've kind of followed. I'm looking at them in the standings. I'm watching on Cowboy Channel. Like I feel invested.
Well, that's kind of the thing, right? You meet these guys, and then they kind of feel like you're friends.
I tell my kids are my friends.
Exactly. Like I'm watching Eric Rogers rope, like we're homies.
Yeah.
Like like he's riding my horse or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Me, Shay, obviously, but man, it's kind of a toss up for me, right? I was the same way at the time. I didn't really, I guess, appreciate Dennis Gates.
Yeah, I
didn't appreciate him, and not because Cesar didn't tell us who he was.
Oh, fuck.
But you just, when you call somebody the Trevor Brazil of his time, you're like, man, that's big shoes to fill. But little did I know, he walked in them boots, right?
Yeah, everybody, since we've had on, has always said something about Dennis. That's saying.
Well,
something.
everybody says I watched the Dennis Gates one before I come on here, but so probably Dennis and man, probably Larry.
Yeah, you're right. That was a good one.
Because Larry was like, and after, like we went to dinner. She was so cool. She don't like sushi, but she's so cool. And man, 20-time champ of the world.
I've never got to hang out with like that. She's kind of a competitor, but just here she laid back and just talked and went and had dinner. It's like she's a very cool lady.
Hung out, and it was cool to see the transformation in her attitude, I guess. Because she's probably done a million interviews, right? You don't become that and not do a bunch of interviews. And when she got here, she was kind of like in interview mode. Mm-hmm. She was ready to talk and
poured her a whiskey.
Yeah, and then we poured her a whiskey, and she got a little more T-Mack.
Yeah.
And by the end of the night, by the end of dinner, man, she was just chatting it up and telling us about her place over there in Abilene. And I talk to her sometimes, and I really like that one. And I think I liked her a lot. She was really cool and had some super cool stories. And I think having a daughter, like in her rope like a girl thing, because you have a daughter and it's easy. For me, it's easy for like a guy to raise a boy and be like, oh, let's go rope or whatever. But a daughter has so much more to overcome. Sonny would be able to tell you all about this goose dad. But
like paying for 3 weddings.
Yeah, like paying for 3 weddings and all that.
3 daughters.
Yeah, he's got 3 of them. But
Sorry,
yeah,
Brandon.
so I think that.
Yeah.
And
I think Shay was probably one of my favorites, also, of course. But that's really just the motivational part of it. I think other than that, as far as like enjoyment, me and Carson cracked up at the you guys with Brenton. When Brandon Brown was like, well, how close are we to bringing people back from the dead? Like, are we blinking?
I'm
a little rough around the edges, I'm sorry.
He was genuinely concerned at like how close we were. So
That's scary.
And that was just interesting to me. I just thought that was like I didn't even think there was a job like that in the world right now, So
he
that was enjoyable to listen to.
Well, I think the general consensus is we're just having fun. We all got real jobs. That I mean, this is Goo's job. It's cool that and we all get along. It's pretty cohesive. Everybody has the greater good in mind. So
This ain't up to us. God had this deal figured out.
That's
All of us
what
were
I'm
supposed
saying.
to meet here for a reason.
Yeah.
Like, that's how I see it.
Yeah, he says that all the time. He brought you. I mean, this guy used to live on my couch, and then we go 5 years and not talk, and then I run into him at Circle K, and we talk every day for 2 years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, and then he just said, "Oh, he brought you back at the right time," and man, I believe that kind of stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
I met Cesar 6-7 years ago, and then now we're doing a podcast. So we didn't see that.
That's wild. Yeah, for sure.
Right?
And then Goo just jumped in the pond. So
Yeah.
you're another big fish in a small
She's
pond.
a big
Big
fish
fish.
in a small pond. Now she's got Bailey as a partner.
Oh,
They're
yeah.
hiring people.
We're turning into sharks.
Yeah.
We're sharks in a pond now.
Yeah.
Look at, and that's what I was telling about Craig. I was like, Craig has only met the best of the best. You know, the couple
Craig has no idea about the number 8.
No, he's like, what the? He's gonna go watch him. What the fuck?
He's like,
He's gonna wonder
He's
when
like,
he
what are
sees me
these-
rope.
Yeah, like, what are these other guys you're talking about? I hang out with like Eric.
Aren't
I
you
don't know if
supposed
know
to
my
try to
friend
catch?
Eric.
Aren't you supposed to catch? I don't understand what these guys are doing.
You said you were good, Brandon.
Isn't that the whole purpose?
Yeah.
No, no.
The
Craig.
funniest thing had to be, I think, so far, had to be Junior Zambrano.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah.
Brandon got him outside and told him, "Hey man, we gotta send you in for makeup. We got this girl that comes and dude,
Just real quick.
He
It's gonna
started
take.
getting-
Sure, no problem. Let's-
I mean, and he was ready to go in for makeup, dude, and it was
Team player.
everything.
Who did I? Oh, Cody Custer.
Cody Custer.
He was like, no.
No.
Cody was out on the
We try to
deal.
say Craig's the makeup guy. He needs to touch you up a little bit.
And let's talk about Craig too. This guy sits here and don't say shit,
Mhm.
runs his computer, acts like he doesn't say nothing. But go to his podcast, Beards and Brains, right?
Yeah.
With the Z
Shout
on
out.
the end. Dude, Craig's hilarious. Like he's a hidden comedian over there behind.
He's gonna get on camera one of these days too.
Yeah, I'm gonna bring Craig up.
Craig is a lot of fun. Like I think our trip to Oklahoma was
Oh,
it was a really fun
That
time
was a
for the whole
team
team
building.
just to
that was team building.
even my
We
husband
got
was
to
like,
stay at
man,
a truck stop
oh,
Oh,
next to a Waffle House.
and the guy sleeping on the corner that was a little
me and Craig eating breakfast at 1 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
Waffle House right next door.
Oh yeah. You know a place is good when Waffle
and a
House
baby
is
in the mix.
Yeah, then we had McRae in the mix. And then we rolled a minivan, rolling in a minivan everywhere.
And then Bryce stayed.
Right.
Yeah, we lost one member
We didn't
of the
even
team.
come home
stayed
with
in
everyone.
Oklahoma.
One of our members decided he wanted to stay in
Everybody's like,
Oklahoma for a couple days.
What the hell? I'm just gonna cruise back on Tuesday.
Huh?
I'll be back.
Yeah,
Like
yeah, we had lunch with him today. I mean, he didn't come back.
he made it back.
Don't
guys.
forget about old John Dowdy.
Oh, yeah.
Dowdy.
You know, I've met a lot of those guys with those supplement companies and feed companies. You know, cattle and stuff over the years. I believe that, dude.
Yeah.
I genuinely believe what that guy's saying.
Yeah.
Like, because usually it's okay, here, try it, and it's like a sample as big as Caesar's phone. This guy's giving
Full on
away like
bucket.
the legit tub,
30 days.
and then he's giving you oil, and he's giving you all this
If
stuff.
you're
and
feeling a little bit, you
Yeah.
can take it yourself.
take it
too.
yourself. It's fine. We got it from the baseball players in Canada.
Yeah, like, it's great for horses, but you can take it too.
He's one of the nicest guys just talking to you and talk to.
Yeah, he was super. But again, there it is. That's what this thing's about. Like, we kind of meet the cool
We
dudes.
never would
Shout
have
out
met
to
him
Big
before.
John.
I think what was super cool is when Brandon and I were talking to him on the outside, like one of the biggest things is he was like interested in helping us on the podcast, and we're like, really? Like you? Doesn't he sponsor Cesar? Or sorry, Cesar. Trevor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He sponsors Trevor, and we're like, you sponsor Trevor Brazil? Like, are you
does make you
really
feel good,
interested
though.
in But he was like, I was like you guys once. I mean,
Yeah.
everybody starts somewhere. So
And
I
it-
thought that was pretty cool.
It
You
was
know.
all-
Cool. When we're getting, I mean, people are pulling us aside. Man, we're hearing some stuff about you guys and stuff, and I mean, that's just vision and leadership. So I think it's working. So. Well, cool.
But buy some merch.
Oh yeah, we're gonna start a merch store,
Yes.
Yeah.
right? Great. We're starting a merch store.
Are we gonna go online?
What is it? What is it? YouTube. So we're figuring that out. That's in R&D right now.
Well, we want to donate like half our proceeds back to like some kind of a charity. Who's gonna figure that
Let's
out?
find
for
like
us?
a super cool charity that like the money goes to the people, not to a high rent CEO.
Yeah.
That's
like
gonna be my only. vote in that is whatever charity I want the money to go to those people.
Or find out the hardest construction worker you know, and every week give them a bunch of beer money.
Now
I
you're
mean-
talking. Now, this
you
is
know what I
something
mean? That's
T-Mack.
American.
That's something T-Mack can get
America.
behind.
You know what I
America.
mean?
That's America. That's
You
America.
guys send us your hardest working construction worker, and we're gonna give him some beer money every
Maybe we
week.
save up and we get like $5,000 and we have a
There you go.
roadsider race.
Hey, we can do that.
Like everybody bring their best roadsider driver.
We can do that.
Hey, stackers,
We can
that'd be
do
cool.
Hey, stackers, I'd like to see
Yeah, well, that'd be cool.
who can stack and squeeze the fastest.
Yeah,
Well,
Caesar's bringing the wolf pack.
I'm telling you,
Oh,
man.
yeah.
I'm telling you, Camilo, my oldest boy, he's pretty good at
He's
it.
good
We'll
at
do
it.
age limits, and then we'll make
All
sure.
right. Well, we got a little podcast meeting we got to get to, but we really want. I want to thank everybody here. I want to thank all of the people sponsoring us. I want to thank all of the people we're talking to about sponsoring us. Everybody that's been on the show that's kind of really made this thing possible. My wife, Brandon's
I
wife,
wanna say
Caesar's wife.
My wife, big time,
For-
so putting
for-
up with all my bullshit.
Yeah, and just giving us the time to do it and have fun and,
Yeah.
and do everything and stuff. And Carson.
Yeah.
Carson
Yeah, no,
too.
Carson was the first time I met him was Oklahoma, and he was awesome dude. I like him a lot.
I told you you're gonna like him. He's a cool dude.
Yeah.
All right, we'll see you on the next one.
Thank you.